This is how I make my money in the speaking business. This is how I get paid. This is how I make my moolah. This is how I make my dough.
How'd you do that?
I see that success is not something you pursue. It is something you are.
So the way I make my money in not only this speaking business, but anything that I do is there's a saying that goes, what gets measured gets improved. And that's how I make my money. Basically, I look at the numbers and then I make my money. What you measure, you focus on. So whenever I measure anything in terms of numbers, like profits and everything that I'm actually doing, that causes me to focus on it, and then it causes me to take more action on it. Now, I actually, on my home screen, on my phone, I actually put numbers on my phone. That way, every time I look at my phone, I just click, I'm looking at the time or whatever, I actually see the numbers that I need to live up to in order to make the profits that I want to make in the business. And this is with everything. I mean, I put on my phone the specific activities. There's only a few activities that I need to do. Everything else is just wasting time. But by doing this, by measuring, you're essentially focusing your mind and you're improving it. You need to know what your targets are and what exactly needs to happen to hit those targets. So, simple example, if you want to make $30,000 and you're selling a $10,000 product, then you know if you sell 3 of them, then you get your $30,000. And that's the type of stuff that I put on my home screen. You want to break down your hustle. You want to think in terms of, okay, here's the thing that I want to accomplish. What exactly needs to happen at each and every step of the way in order to make this thing happen? What are the numbers? And that's how you break down your hustle. And you look at those numbers every single day, because when you focus on it, I mean, when you know, okay, today I gotta contact 100 people, you know, did you contact 100 people or did you not? And when you break it down, when you know, okay, by contacting 100 people every single day, and okay, 700 people for the week, you know, after 700 people, you'll end up getting 2 gigs or whatever. By knowing that, you know where you are. I want to point this out. You're not going to accomplish your goals just because you have it on your home screen on your phone or just because you write it down. You probably wrote down your goals before. You probably wrote down some goals. You probably thought about, oh, let me make it very specific. You probably did that before and maybe it didn't happen. I mean, there's a word for it. It's called New Year's resolution. So you probably made it happen by doing that. Well, you probably didn't make it happen by doing that. So just by writing down numbers and your goals, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. The purpose of writing down these numbers is for like a checks and balances. It's to let you know where you are and why you are there. So if you know, okay, I need to contact 100 people today. I need to find 100 events today, and then I need to contact those events. If you don't do it, if you only contact 10, and you look at your bank account, you're like, damn, this is embarrassing. And if you look at your bank account, you'll realize that's why you're there, because your numbers are telling you. Let me show you a couple things. I wrote a couple things down depending on the types of business that you're going to do. So if you're selling products online, there are a few numbers that you want to pay attention to constantly. So just daily revenue. So I mean, how much money did you make today? That's a big one you want to pay attention to. Then there's monthly revenue. So how much money did you make this month? Then there's the previous month's revenue. This is so you can actually figure out where you are right now versus where you were last month, the month before. And this is so if you say I want to double the amount that I make each month, then it kind of gives you an idea, okay, we doubled it. Then the daily leads. So how many leads did you actually generate for today? This is if you're selling products. And another metric is just your traffic. So how many people actually came to your website? These are just small numbers that you want to pay attention to every single day in your business. If you're going to get paid keynotes, these are the numbers I actually keep track of. Daily revenues. I mean, how much did you make? Then how many leads were generated today? And by leads, I mean how many events did we find today? The next thing is how many were contacted today. So, okay, we generated 100 leads. How many of those 100 did we contact? Then how many responded back? So, okay, we contacted them. Maybe we contacted some yesterday. So how many responded back today? Then how many opportunities were created? By opportunities, what I mean is when someone responds back, do they say something where they express any kind of interest, where they say, oh, how much do you charge? Or, oh, send us your information. How many of those types of responses came back versus, oh, no, we're not interested. Get out of here, you sucker. So I'm interested in the opportunities. And the last one is simply how many gigs were booked. This is essentially the revenue. What you really want to do is when you're keeping track of numbers, you want to keep track of when you send an email out, when you contact somebody, is keep track of how many people responded to that email. So I look at the emails and I say, okay, how many replied to this first email? So I send a few emails out. So how many replied to this first email? How many replied to the second email? How many expressed the interest? And if you're using the right software, then you can actually just do a couple clicks and bam, you know the numbers. When I started, I didn't actually have the software, so I actually did all this by hand. I would literally sit down and look at look inside my email, and I'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it would take a long time, but it was worth it because I started doing this because I was looking at productivity, and what happened was I sat down. This is when I used to call people too. I sat down when I would call people, and I felt like I was contacting a ton of people all day, every day. I looked to see within an hour, I only like talked to about 20 people. And by doing this, by looking at your numbers, you literally see why you are where you are. So when you have a system that you can just filter out and you kind of say how many leads were put in today into the CRM today. It says, oh, 132. So, okay, good. How many of those leads were contacted today? Oh, 3 of them. You're like, oh, damn, all right, that's bad. So by not paying attention to your numbers, what happened is you'll get this sense of you're doing something, and then you're not going to get any results. You're going to wonder, why am I not getting results? Why am I not getting on stages? And it's because you're not paying attention to your numbers, even though you're doing all this activity. Maybe you're messing around with your website, messing around with logos, or talking to people on Facebook or whatever. You're doing all this activity, but you're not getting anything done that actually gets you on stages. So by paying attention to your numbers, you're literally looking at why you are where you are. I can't stress this enough. The reason why I was able to build my business is because I looked at what was actually working, the numbers, what I'm actually accomplishing, the things that I'm actually getting done. And when you look at these numbers, it literally gives you an answer for why you are where you are. Whether you like the answer or not, that's the answer.